Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Want to talk about everybody's favorite subject, and that is money. The NIL market right now is absolutely crazy. The amount of money being spent on college athletics is through the roof. And where does the money come from? Is there enough money to go around? Is it worth it? I mean, look at Ohio State. You know, the rumors of what they spent, the highest paid, maybe not the highest, but one of, if not the highest paid college football program. They went and won a national championship. Can't beat Michigan, but they did go win a national championship. You just look around at the world of college football, $3 to $4 million for Carson Beck to transfer from Georgia to Miami, a national championship contender in Georgia. And yeah, I know there were some other things there, but $3 to $4 million for Carson Beck. Is he worth it? Does he deserve that money? Yeah, I don't know. He was third in the conference in passing yards. He also led the conference in interceptions with 12. And oh, by the way, you go look at his quarterback rating, 145.3. That was a tenth of a point lower than Nico Iamaleava. Just put that in perspective. Jeremiah Smith, best wide receiver in college football as a freshman. Rumors of $4 to $5 million offers to hit the transfer portal. Carnell Tate, rumors of $2 million deal to stay at Ohio State as wide receiver number 2. Of course, we know about the alleged $8 million for Nico. Jared Curtis, one of the top players in the class of 2026, number 1 player in the state of Tennessee, 5-star quarterback. He has an NIL valuation of $3.5 million. The kid's not played a snap of football as a senior yet. The kid is a junior in high school, and he's got an evaluation of $3.5 million. So again, I ask you, where does this money come from? What are we willing to spend, and how deep are our pockets? Where does it come from? We're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it, but I need you guys to do that YouTube stuff for me. Smash the thumbs up just below this video. It's quick, free, and easy. It helps the channel. I would appreciate it. If it's your first time here, welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. What we are is exactly what you are, for the fans, by the fans. If you like what we do, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. The Super Bowl is coming up on Sunday, so I think I'm going to move the EA Sports College Football to Tuesday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Just stay dialed in so you don't miss that. If you really like what we do and you want to support, hit the join button down below. You can support us for just $1 a month. But let's get into it. We'll talk some more money. We're talking money. We're doing shills and plugs. Let's talk some money here. This list was floating around Twitter, and it brought up a lot of conversation when it first went out. You can see it on the screen right there. NIL collective funding per NCAA estimates. This came out back in December, and I put it on the screen just for some perspective here, right? And again, first of all, estimates. These are not 100% accurate. There was outrage over where Tennessee is at on the list. You see them way down the list at $11.6 million compared to Texas at $22 million, compared to Ohio State at $20 million. And again, these are all estimates. This is not factual. Brent Hubbs himself said that Tennessee spent way more than $11.6 million on their roster in 2024, but he also said that they didn't spend as much as Ohio State. So we saw what it takes to go spend, whether that be in recruiting, whether that be in the transfer portal. I've been talking a lot lately about blue chip ratios and what Tennessee has to do to get to that next level. So you see Ohio State, $20 million, and then you go look at the blue chip ratio for the 2024 football season. Ohio State was at 90%. Tennessee at 46%. So we've got a long way to go to close that talent gap. And that's why I want to compare the money, and again, estimates, to where the blue chip ratio is. Blue chip ratio, Ohio State led the country at 90%. Alabama, 88%. Georgia, 80%. Texas A&M, 79%. Oregon, 76%. You can compare those numbers to where these teams rank on the estimates of NIL collective funding. So we have a long way to go if we want to close that blue chip ratio between Tennessee and Ohio State. And we're doing that. And again, as I've talked a lot about recruiting lately, that's something that we've kind of mentioned. We've talked about how Josh Heupel's first class, the class of 21, he has since doubled the amount of blue chip prospects. But how do we take that next step? How do we go win a national championship? Where does this money come from? And this was one of my first questions I asked back when NIL became legal, back when NIL became a thing. I said, where does the money come from? Because what a lot of us want to do is point at the big donors and say, well, where's their money at? We got to spend their money. And it's so different. College football now is so much different than it used to be, right? And we know we've always been paying players. Everybody across the country has been paying players, but there is a big difference with the numbers that I rattled off for Jeremiah Smith and Carson Beck and the elite prospects. You're talking about a kid that's a junior in high school that has an NIL evaluation of $3.5 million. That's a whole lot different than giving a kid a Mercedes, giving a kid some money under the table. So when this became legal, I said, all right, where does this money come from? Because it's easy to look at the Haslams and say, all right, cut us a check. It's easy to look at Peyton Manning and say, all right, cut us a check, big fella. We got to go recruit. If we want to be elite, we need your money. You look at the renovations alone, right? Like these big time donors, maybe they were paying kids under the table. Maybe they were giving a kid a car, but they were also paying for renovations. They were also paying for facility upgrades. Look at Neyland renovations, $337 million. Says the project includes structural and cosmetic changes, as well as new amenities and seating options. Project goals: improve fan safety and security, modernize the fan experience, align the stadium with campus architectural standards. New video boards, expanded gates and entryways, additional restrooms, concession areas. The list goes on and on and on. Project will continue throughout the fall of 2026. Well, let's talk about Thompson Bowling Arena, $85 million renovations. Again, says the project will include improvements to the building's interior and exterior, as well as new amenities. The one thing that was interesting about looking at Thompson Bowling is it said the Tennessee State School Bond Authority will provide most of the funding. Okay, well, that's not coming out of donors' pockets, but then it goes on to say previous renovations have been funded by who? That's right, donors. How deep are our pockets? Where does this money come from? Lindsey Nelson Stadium just underwent major renovations, going to be ready for the 2025 season, $95.8 million. That adds up to $517.8 million. And yeah, $4 to $5 million for the number one wide receiver in college football, $3.5 million for a high school junior. Again, where does the money come from? And this just went out onto Twitter yesterday, and I wanted to talk about it. This is an article from VolQuest.com. Tennessee's reinvestment into hoops program drives increase in ticket prices. This is what the article says. Following Tennessee's announcement of renovations this summer at the Food City Center, athletics director Danny White announced Tuesday changes to ticket pricing for men's basketball for the 2025-2026 season. On average, ticket prices are going up 6% in non-premium areas. There's also the arrival of the 10% talent fee as well. Now, that stirred up a hornet's nest, right? When the 10% talent fee came out back during the football season. And I get it. I understand the frustration, and I can talk out of both sides of my mouth here, and you guys can tell me where you stand on this issue because I present all the information. I take a look at the renovations. I take a look at the cost of a national championship program. I take a look at the blue chip ratios. Clearly, spending money is how you get talent, but how deep are your pockets? And when I say you, I'm talking to me too as fans. How do we contribute? Do we give to Spire Sports Group? Are we donating? And on the flip side of that, you see this weird thing on Twitter. You see this weird thing on the message boards that if you don't donate to Spire, all of a sudden you're not a fan and you don't have a voice. And that's ridiculous. It's no different than donating to this channel. I say it all the time. If you have the money to give, we appreciate it. That's what keeps this thing going. But if you don't, you're still a part of this community. And it's the same thing for Tennessee athletics. If you can't afford to donate to Spire Sports Group, that doesn't mean that you're not a fan of the program. Like, that's just not what it is. But are you entitled to tickets? And that's where I kind of blur the lines here a little bit. This is an article that somebody shared on the VolQuest message board. This is from Yahoo Sports, TuscaloosaNews.com. This article is over a year old, so these numbers have only gone up since then. The average cost for a family of four to go to an SEC football game, you can see there Tennessee is at the very top of the list. 4 tickets, almost $1,200. Parking, $20. 4 hot dogs, $20. 4 sodas, $28. The expense is ridiculous. So when you start talking about a talent fee and you start talking about spending money, then we start getting complaints saying, well, I'm paying a 10% talent fee, but I'm not getting enough in return. So is this too much? Have we lost the game that we love? And again, I can talk out of both sides of my mouth because I can see what Ohio State spent. I see how much money it takes. I see where their blue chip ratio is at. And all the lines, all the dots, it all connects. But if we want to get there, we're going to have to spend the money. So is that donating through Spire Sports Group? Is that a 10% talent fee? Is that raising the ticket prices? Because we're seeing them do to basketball exactly what they did to football. And I get it. For me, this is too expensive. I'm not paying $1,200 to take a family of 4 to a football game. A little different for me. I sit here and work after the football games, but I've had the opportunity to take my family to App State games because those are a little less expensive. We did skip a post-game show to go to the Connecticut game because it's a little less expensive. We talk all the time on this channel how college football, Tennessee football, man, it's about more than football, right? The memories that we've shared, the stories that Dauber's told about him and his dad, the stories I've told about the first game that I went to with one of my friends that's no longer here. Those memories will last a lifetime. So are certain people going to miss out on those memories because of this price increase? I don't know, man. I don't know where I stand on it. I'm going to need you guys to jump in the comment section. Let's talk about it. As always, do me a favor, smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin VAWLS Network. You can go to bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. You can also support the channel by being a member. Hit the join button down below. We would be grateful for that support. There are also links in the description for that. Let's talk about it in the comment section because I'm kind of in the middle here. I'm towing the line. It takes money to go win a national championship, but where does that money come from? Let's talk about it. That's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name's Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.